what was your life like before you broke the stronghold of food?
All right, so I weighed about 100 pounds more than what I weigh right now. I'm in the mid to high 170s now. I was in the mid to high 270s then at my worst. I love the Lord passionately, served him earnestly, worked out intensely, and traveled around the world. Did 2 hours of live radio 5 days a week. Normally wrote about 5 op-ed pieces a week. Always working on 1 or 2 books. Traveling internationally and nationally, pushing, going for it. And yet, all these years, I was a food addict. All these years, I was a chocoholic. All these years, I was putting stuff into my body that was gradually killing me. I can't get into details, but in the years now of eating healthily, as different things came up, kidney stone or something, because which I got an MRI, we discovered that problems in my arteries, if I had continued eating the way I was 10 years ago, I would have been dead not long after that. I would not be alive today talking about it. That's how destructive it was. But I didn't know. I was willfully ignorant. So I had several headaches a week. I just thought, whatever, just pushing hard, maybe not sleeping enough. I had constant lower back pain. My cholesterol was as high as 240, but the bad was way up. The good was way low. My blood pressure was now high. It was as high as 149 over 103. And I had sleep apnea at that point, severe. Had to travel everywhere I went around the world with a breathing machine, a CPAP machine for sleeping. So I was committed, running hard, loving the Lord, but food addicted. My favorite meal was pizza. I grew up in New York. Used to have pizza every day, sometimes twice a day. Chocolate always. And I would try to break this at times. I did a 21-day water fast, just surrendering to the Lord, which sometimes only have sweets 1 day a month, and kept that up for months. But I'll always fall back, would give up fried foods, whatever. So I was always fighting, but always losing. And ultimately, every few years, I put on a little more weight and didn't take it off. And I finally got to the point of tiredness that I said to Nancy, I don't think I can keep up this schedule. I was only 59. I say only 59, I'm about to turn 69 and feel like I'm a 20-year-old. But I was only 59, and I said to her, I don't think I can keep up this schedule any longer. And she had never heard me talk like that, and it deeply concerned her.
Take us into that season. And you alluded to this, that you were exercising, and you actually would try fasting, not for this, but you would fast, and then you would actually try to go for a while without, consuming junk food. Talk about the sense of impossibility, the feeling like it's just too hard to change the food that you eat.
Yeah, so this is the deal. I would just tell Nancy, I can't take any more pressure. Like, I'm under enough pressure it is. I'm constantly under attack on social media, tackling controversies, going day and night, constant deadlines. I can't take any more pressure. I'm great within this bubble that God's called me to live in, but you add one extra thing, I can't have that, or on the road, don't eat this, skip this. It's like, I can't do it. And plus, what am I going to do? I'm flying around the world. I'm traveling 40 plus hours to India. What am I supposed to do for food? What do I do when I get somewhere? I'm at the airport. It's the only thing. So I could not take the sense of extra pressure on me. Plus, when you've tried, people say to me, Dr. Brown, you're so disciplined. On the one hand, by God's grace, I am super disciplined like a machine. On the other hand, I tell them, if I was so disciplined, why was I a chocoholic at the age of 59? If I was so disciplined, why couldn't I give up simple foods that I knew were destructive? Because it's you got to eat every day. We're in a fast food society, and my body was addicted to it. It's that simple. And certain point, you think you're fooling yourself. However, here's my self-deception. I'm Mr. Positive. I'm Mr. Optimist. Today's good. Tomorrow's going to be better. So every day I would do the same things and expect different results. I'd get on the scale in the morning frustrated, like, why didn't I lose weight? You didn't lose weight, stupid, because you did the same thing every day. But I would live in this kind of self-deception that it's going to fix itself. And when Nancy would tell me, you got to do something radical, I wasn't willing.
How are you doing now?
Oh, wonderful. Thriving. I have not had a headache for 9.5 years. The lower back pain, 100% gone. My blood pressure average is about 100 over 65. My cholesterol is about 135. The good is way up. The bad is way down.
You don't travel with the sleeping machine?
Don't need a breathing machine anymore at home or on the road. And I was working out with some 20-year-olds not long ago, and one of them just was a bit overwhelmed. He hadn't slept right the night before and hadn't eaten, and so he was a bit overwhelmed, and he was struggling at the end of the workout. And my wife said to me afterwards, she said, "Honey, you can't work out with guys in their 20s. It's not safe for them." So I'm thriving. I feel like I'm getting younger every year.
I thought you'll say it's not safe for you. It's not safe for them.
No, seriously. So I'm thriving. I'm blessed. I'm full of life, overflowing. It's amazing. So it's not just, and here's the thing. To me, it's ultimately stewardship. Yes, I love being healthy. I love being pain-free in my body. I love having no meds that I take. I love that. And I love being here for my wife, Nancy, and our kids and our grandkids. But to me, ultimately, Vlad, it's a matter of stewardship. I have a commission. I have a calling. I have a mission from God. I have more to give now than ever. As I'm older, hopefully wiser, more mature, I want to be able to give and run and serve until it's time for me to go home. Not that I cut it short because I like peanut M&Ms too much. So to me, it's ultimately a matter of stewardship.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. In your book, and something that I think you just already alluded to this, you mentioned about 10 recommendations for healthy lifestyle. Would you go through them?
Yeah.
And maybe how does that apply in your life?
So don't diet, get a lifestyle change. I do not diet. I eat differently. I live differently. The dieting mentality, it's yo-yo, it's up and down. And then each time you end up with more fat cells in your body, you end up more unhealthy, more discouraged. Secondly, don't cut back on bad foods. Cut them out entirely. Replace them with good foods. So I alluded to that briefly, but it's not a matter of me having less M&Ms or less milkshakes or less French fries or less burgers and buns and whatever. No, it's a matter of don't have the things that are unhealthy at all. You know, for example, married to Nancy, going on 48 years. That's it. I'm married to her. I'm not married to anyone else. I don't have sexual relations with anyone else. I don't have emotional connection to any other woman because I'm married to her, right? I don't share that. So, and you know, someone said to me, Jesus is the first of many lovers. He said, my wife wouldn't like that mentality, right? So we have to cut the other loves out. And then if you want to get free, that's the only way you're going to get free. Otherwise, like a porn addict saying, I'm just going to only watch porn once a week. And for less time. No. By God's grace, you cut it out. Then you can experience freedom. Number 3, recognize that food addiction is real and deadly. The vast majority of us in America are food addicts in one way or another. Joel Fuhrman had in one of his books, you know, he do this little survey to see if you're a food addict. And, you know, you hide food secretly. You do this, you know, went through all the different, you have to have certain things. And maybe there were 8 items. And I was like 3 out of 8. I thought, that's pretty good. And he said, if you have any one of these, you're an addict. It's like, oops. So it's real and it'll kill you. And it'll lead to all kinds of unnecessary diseases and pain and suffering. And the younger you are, the less you feel it. But the older you are, you now reap the results of what you did in your younger years. So if you can get it right when you're young, if I'm thriving like this, going on 69, thriving by God's grace in every way, what would have happened if I made these changes 40 years earlier? Who can imagine? Then next, learn the difference between toxic hunger and true hunger. This is something I only learned through Nancy and Dr. Fuhrman, but a lot of our cravings when I need to eat, I want to eat, I feel weak, that's toxic hunger. That's the food addictions. That's the bad stuff crying out for more. And again, I know very little about nutrition, but I knew enough to realize when I fast, I only realized this 10 years ago, when I fasted, I'd always have misery the opening days and headaches, and it's terrible. When I did 21 days on water, the first week was miserable every day, all day. I didn't realize that was because of toxins leaving my body. So when I went through the withdrawal, getting rid of the bad foods, I realized, okay, all this bad feeling, yucky, that's the bad stuff leaving my body. So a lot of our hunger is not real hunger, it's toxic hunger. Don't snack between meals. Bad habit. I've fallen into it with healthy stuff. And you end up, again, it's a lack of discipline and it opens the door and your body will get used to it. once you, with God's grace, get in the good habit of eating the meals as you need each day, you get used to it. It becomes a lifestyle. Recognize unhealthy eating may be a sin to you. That once you see these things and hear them, you may have to think differently. And I was at a pastor's breakfast in Queens, New York one time, and I was talking to one of the pastors. I said, it's like we made a deal with the devil to kill everybody young. You just look at what's being served here. Every kind of unhealthy pork thing and greasy this and greasy that and heavy calorie. It's like, no wonder we're so ineffective. We're too fat to fly, right? So for many, once you become clear on it, unhealthy eating is sin. Identify the main psychological reasons you overeat. For me, as I said, food is my reward. For others, it's what you do for comfort. For others, aside from gluttony, there can be other psychological, emotional reasons. That helps to understand that. Yeah. Understand food is the fuel for your life. It's not the reward of your life. It's the fuel for your life. Realize exercise is not a substitute for changing your food habits. I worked out heavily. I worked out very intensely when I was fat, and I could compete with guys younger than me. But still, Nancy used to say, "You're crazy doing that. With you're going to hurt yourself doing that." So exercise is important, but it's way down the list of what matters. And then lastly, resolve to change today, because tomorrow never comes. Maybe the change starts with honest confession to God. I'm weak. I'm a food wimp. Look, you may be a pastor with a ministry that reaches millions every month, and you're a food wimp. Could we? I was, in the eyes of many, a powerful man of God, and I was a slave to my stomach, a slave to sweet, a chocoholic. Man of God, preaching the gospel, preaching purity, seeing people set free, and I myself was a chocoholic. So that's the reality, but God knows. He's incredibly merciful, incredibly kind. He used me in my fat days. He uses me in my thin days. It's all his grace. But start today. Realize, okay, my plan's not working. Forget the new diet. I'm going to have to do something radical. And I'm not willing. Start there. I'm God, but I'm not willing. Or I need help, or I don't know the way. Start today. Then our book, Breaking the Stronghold of Food, we have lots of other recommendations. Here are free websites to go to, or YouTube channels where people will talk about it, and healthy recipes. Here are other guidelines. Here's Dr. Furman's literature. And then hopefully with our inspiration and armed with these practical steps, folks can make it.